Sometimes there's just something special that genuinely pops up around a team. You can't explain the Caleb Williams throw on 4th and 8.
Pasta,
you can't explain
pasta, meatballs.
all underdogs this week. I mean, what the hell? Let's have some fun. Zero fun, sir.
Yes.
Picked all the underdogs and all the favorites.
They all bit you in the ass. Yeah, right. They got under that ass and bit it. Chunk. It's a little light there in the chunks, though, because you're getting skinny over there, but they still got a piece of that ass.
I am currently the lightest I've been since I was 18.
Is that right? What has led to this? I've noticed it. My wife has noticed it, right? I've noticed it just, especially on Sundays when you wear your suits and stuff a little lately. I want to be like, hey, I feel like I can stick a finger down there. Your neck is getting all skinny on me. But what's led to this?
You can stick a finger. Not on me, though.
Yeah. It's coming shortly. We're going to the Super Bowl. How many times will I hit Mike on Radio Row for the week? I don't know.
Nothing caused it per se. It's weird. I had gotten down to around 175 year and a half, 2 years ago, which is probably the ideal weight. But then I got out of the habit of getting on the scale because I think if you don't get on the scale on a regular basis, you have no idea, and you never have that correction weekend or a couple of days where you just kind of dial it in. Like, you just got to keep track. So I was starting to creep up. I mean, like to mid 180s. And when I had my physical, you see what you weighed last year, you see what you weigh this year. And I do this full body density scan thing, and you see the numbers, and it's like, shit, I got to tighten it up a little bit. And so I started to tighten it up, and I have no desire to eat between meals. I have no desire to eat big meals. I get full faster. I'm just done. Whatever enjoyment that you get out of having an extra piece of pizza. I used to eat 4 pieces of pizza, minimum, no matter how big or small the pizza. Right. I eat one now. After one, I'm good.
Way to go. All right. Yeah. Hey, listen, I think everybody can learn the lesson of, live to eat instead of eat to live, right? I think we've lost that a little in our country, especially. But yeah, happy to hear you're making the corrections, man. I hear you. I get to the point where I know I'm getting not good. I don't need to go to the doctor. When I start stepping on the scale and it says 240 and 242, I'm like, uh-oh. I've been doing the case of the munchies way too much lately, and that's when I know I got to cut back. So then I have to try to get back under 235. When I get in that range, then I know I'm probably living a little bit more cleanly than I am at 242 or so.
There was a day last week I stepped on, and it said 168.
Wow.
And I got off
and
got back on to make sure that it was right. And I got off, and I got back on, and I couldn't believe I was down to 168.
That's
I was
incredible.
165 when I graduated high school.
That's Devontae Smith, wide receiver, coming out of Alabama. Is he too skinny type of weight right there? I don't know if you can go over the middle with that weight right there. You might break a hip or something.
I don't think I could go over the middle if I was 230.
I know.
Well, for other reasons.
Me neither. Yeah, right.
But anyway, it'll be a test during Super Bowl week because I won't be able to exercise every day. I hate exercising on the road. I hate having that dirty, nasty bag of sweaty clothes. And I just make up for it. Whenever I'm home, I work out every single day.
We're going back to Cali. We need to, guys, before we get done with this show, let's get the clip of Mike when the last time we were in L.A. for the Super Bowl when he went on the rant of, this is the last time I've ever come to California. I'll never be there again. No, I think we should play that
I said Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles? Okay.
That was Los Angeles.
Okay. All right, damn. That doesn't work good. All right.
Yeah. Oh, I think I did say I was never leaving home. Let me tell you, the morning after Super Bowl 56, I called my wife and I said, I'm just going to leave all my shit here. I don't need these clothes. I can replace everything. I don't want to drag the suitcase. I'm just leaving it here. And I'm just taking my computer and coming home. And she's like, are you serious? It's like, yes. But I knew that she would eventually talk me out of it. But I just wanted to get the out of there. It was 10 days in L.A., and we'll be back there next year. I'm sorry. Randy Newman was wrong. I don't love L.A., and I don't expect to be greeted warmly when we go to L.A. next year. I don't love L.A. And the northern part of California, it's a little bit different for me because I lived out there when I was in college. I worked at the Chevron refinery in Richmond. So it doesn't really feel the same because it's been so long. But, we'll be in San Francisco Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we make the shift down to Santa Clara to get ready for the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is on NBC this year. We have the 5-hour pregame show. And this is the last Picks podcast of the year in our usual spot.
Yeah,
we'll do a picks show some way, somehow. I don't know that we're going to do another live show.
Oh, wait, you Scott? What?
We got a lot.
What? I heard that this was a rumor going around that you weren't sure you wanted to do a live pick spot, and I just go, well, that's what we do.
Oh, it's not that I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm sure that I don't.
You haven't had fun doing that the last 2 years? Apparently not.
It's had its moments.
Okay.
But I just look at the bigger picture of the week and everything the week is going to entail and all this moving around the Bay Area and rehearsal here and meeting here and do this and do that. And, I'd like to have a night to myself. Yeah, sue me.
All right.
So
okay.
That's my current thinking.
All right.
I'm capable of being persuaded, but it's just going to be a long week. And I know we're working in the toy department, but sometimes there's a lot of toys to sift through. There's a lot to do, and you know what kind of a week it is when we have the game. It's a different week. It's more stressful. There's a lot more going on. We have different obligations than when it's just show up. And we already run ourselves ragged during a normal non-NBC week.
Yeah.
I don't think people appreciate how grueling it is to sit there all day long and be on all day long, and here comes this guy, here comes this guy, here comes this guy, here comes this guy. After a while, man.
Yeah, it's emotionally draining. I hear
it's
you.
Exhausting.
It is. I got you. All right.
It's hard to not be an asshole for an extended period of time.
Well, yeah,
it's
for
hard
you,
to
it's
act,
really hard.
Hey, hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah, all right.
So,
I'm
anyway.
going to try to talk you into it, all right, you asshole you, and I'm glad you had a real average week of picks last week. That was awesome.
It wasn't real average.
It was real sucky ducky. But look, you winning on the right. You're beating me in the picks on the best dancer. You got the most votes there. Look at you. I mean, impressive.
What was that from? How did I miss that?
Maria did a video, and she took a poll, and she did it, and she said Devin McCourty won. She didn't like that he won. But regardless, McCourty got the most votes, which I think is probably pretty accurate. He's definitely the best dancer of the group. Maria being second, it's her own Instagram page. I disagree with Maria being second, and really I think it's down to you or me after that. And, I think your performance is pretty strong. I think you should have been second over Maria.
So wait, if you got 7, what did Garrett and Barry get?
I guess it's way down low. They're not even on the screen, so that just tells you, all right?
Barry's not even in the margin of error. All right.
Yep. So they weren't even on the poll.
What's that on the left?
That's Devin McCourty busting a move.
That.
Know your friends. Know your workmates. Know your friends. I mean, come on.
I can't see.
Damn.
I can't see. All I knew is it wasn't me. So, all right.
You knew that much, right? You're like, that doesn't look like me.
Yeah.
My skin's not that color.
You're always very subtle about these things.
Very.
Like, anyway, I've enjoyed the whole this whole dance thing. It really has been an unexpected twist, and I get asked about it and I hear about it more than anything else now. Like, I do other things. Like, I already kind of had a platform, but we're out to dinner last Thursday night, and this woman starts going on and on about, I watch your videos over and over again. They're so awesome. They're so great. It's like, thank you.
Yeah. And you embraced them.
I'd rather you go to PFT.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you embraced them. It was cool.
It was fun.
Very well set up by Maria and Mackenzie. They did a great job of supervising us every week.
I thought we were going to do one in Chicago, but you know what? As soon as we were clear, we got the out of there.
Yeah,
so
it was
sorry.
You think I'm waiting around and going to go outside and do a dance?
Get me out of this concrete room.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 8 degrees out. We're not going outside. See you later. Let's get back to the hotel and watch the game.
We're all pressed into a sound booth in a spare locker room in Soldier Field. We appreciate the hospitality, but the point is there are different qualities of accommodation when you take 30 people on the road. Some spaces fit 30 people better than others. So the moment I knew I was clear, I was gone. So, all right, let's get to it.
Yep.
We have 2 games this weekend, and we will be at neither one. This is the only weekend from Labor Day until the trip to the Super Bowl that I get to just hang out at home.
Me
Go
too.
to the barn,
I can't wait.
Watch 2 games back to back.
Right.
Try not to fall asleep because we're going to get a lot of snow here. I may not even get to the barn, but that's another issue. But we've got the AFC and the NFC championship games, and we will start with the AFC. Number 1 seed Broncos hosting the 2nd seeded Patriots. The line is currently 4.5. New England favored. It was 5.5. So it sounds like some people are still realizing the Broncos are in this game for a reason. And it's not like Bo Nix is Peyton Manning in his prime or Tom Brady in his prime or Josh Allen in his prime. I mean, all due respect to Bo Nix, but he's still establishing himself. The drop-off from starter to backup, not as glaring as it would be if it was Patrick Mahomes yielding to whoever, Josh Allen taking his seat for Mitch Trubisky. It's not like that. So I think folks are realizing it, and I'm still a little bit surprised it's 4.5. It's the biggest spread ever for an underdog on the road in a conference championship. So let's start it.
Yeah.
Let's start it.
Right.
Which side of the ball do you want to take?
Well, I think let's start with Denver's defense versus the New England offense, right? Because I think that's where the conversation at least starts for Jarrett Stidham and kind of setting up the game at least for him. And knowing that, he doesn't need to be a world beater in this game. Like you said, they got a good football team. He's there for a reason. He is one of the better backups in football. But he's got a defense here that we know is one of the best in football, and I do think matches up pretty well with the New England Patriots, right? There's only really one issue I have with the Broncos. There were 2, I should say, on the defensive side of the ball. One, as we saw last week against Buffalo, they're not real big in the interior part of their D-line. They're a defense, that we talk about a lot. They're a little bit more about speed and chaos rather than we're just going to hold it down and you can't move us even with the double team or do any of that. So that's the first thing I look at. And can New England overpower them in the running game? I think they can to a degree, but also at the same time, I think that the Denver Broncos could probably feel pretty good about their matchups on the outside too, to go, hey, we're willing to put another guy in the box or do something there to help the run game out. So that's the first thing. We know the Patriots have good receivers. Stephon Diggs has had a really awesome year, but it is the type of talent that you go, oh gosh, we got to double team him, maybe in certain situations because he's a go-to guy, but not because you go, oh man, if he gets the ball, we're in trouble and he's going to run away from us all. So they're going to, I feel good in that department about matching up with the Patriot receivers. The other aspect of this and what we've seen here in the playoffs to this point, and you heard me say this with Pro Football Talk a little earlier today, is, Drake May, pass protection. That's been an issue here through the 2 playoff games. The Chargers collapsed the pocket a lot in that game. The Houston Texans, as we know, collapsed the pocket a lot as well. This is a Broncos defense that we know can get after the quarterback. And one of my things with Denver, so I mentioned the size in the middle. The other thing that I sometimes watch them and go, why are you guys are too good to be so aggressive all the time? We don't always need to go for the kill. Play a little normal defense every now and then, right? I think some of the reasons they let up some of the big plays and stuff is because people are like, ooh, I think they're going to do this or do this and be over-aggressive in this situation. And now I can kind of dial something up during the week to kind of stop that and make a big play down the football field. They take unnecessary chances. But within that, too, they can get after the quarterback. And Drake May, right, Mike? It's been 6 fumbles. It's been 2 interceptions in the last 2 games. And he better be careful as far as his pocket presence is concerned in this one as well.
Well, this is one of those situations where it's impossible to ignore how easy the regular season schedule was for the New England Patriots. Not that it diminishes what they did. They can only play the games that are assigned to them. But when you get into these postseason scenarios, and yes, they've won both games, the Chargers game was kind of a slow suffocation, and the LA offense could never get anything going. If they could have, may have been a different outcome. And, if C.J. Stroud doesn't have 4 first-half interceptions and just generally look not like C.J. Stroud the whole game.
Right.
Maybe the Texans score enough to win that game. Now you're into an environment where the Patriots have never won in the playoffs. Tom Brady 0-3 in Denver in the postseason. Bill Belichick 0-3 in Denver in the postseason. The team is 0-4 there. Drake May and Mike Vrabel are going to have to do something that their predecessors who won 6 Super Bowls never were able to accomplish. And yeah, look, it's not Peyton Manning playing quarterback for the Broncos. It's Jarrett Stidham, but still, the Broncos with Sean Payton running the show, it's a defensive juggernaut. And Vance Joseph has done a hell of a job. Former head coach of the Broncos comes back to be the coordinator. He's taking care of the defense to the point where Sean Payton can focus on the offense, and the defense is borderline dominant, and that's going to be the challenge. Drake May playing within himself, Drake May getting rid of the football, the Broncos trying to get to him, trying to rattle him, force him into some mistakes early, try to build a lead, and then use that defense to hold the lead. They've got some talented players on that side of the ball. Patrick Surtain was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. It'd be interesting to see how he gets deployed. Who does he cover? You know, because we talk about doubling guys. Well, when you have Patrick Surtain, you could just put him on the guy you'd otherwise
exactly
double.
Right.
And then double somebody else or double nobody and just have an extra defender.
Yeah, exactly right. That's where you get into it, and these both teams are going to feel somewhat good about their defensive matchups. And I know we're going to flip it around in a second, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's going to be the big thing. And if they wanted to put Stephon Diggs or Patrick Surtain on Stephon Diggs on a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6, they're going to feel totally comfortable with that. No doubt about that, right? And that's where I get a little bit into the run game is going to be huge. It's just as far as, I know that's hey, run, you got to run the ball. No, it's big in this one, and who wins that battle as far as Patriots offense versus Denver's defense too, because I think the Patriots will play a little bit of like the game of, hey, Jarrett Stidham's on the other side. Our defense is good. Let's not take too many chances. Let's run the ball. Let's kind of play that way, right? And do that. And if they can run the ball and continue to have success that way, right, it's going to be hard for Denver to make that play on the defensive side of the ball that maybe can jumpstart their team, right? And then within that too, we got Josh McDaniels here. We know he's one of the best game planners we've ever seen, especially when he's an offensive coordinator for the Patriots. So if he gets the run game going, and now you get Denver into this, like you were just talking about, we got to play man, we got to get extra guys down in there and stop the run. He's going to have some tricks and some picks and some crosses and things like that, off the play action pass or whatever else, that is going to make it hard on Denver from that standpoint. So that's where I get into the run game possibility, because I also feel like New England's going to come into the game going, hey, it's Jarrett Stidham over there. They do have a good defense. Let's not let their defense win the game. Our quarterback's been a little shaky lately, right? Let's not have him dropping back, 10 out of the first 12 plays. Let's break him in that way. And then let's see if we can get Denver to bend on how they play defense on that side of the ball, because they're so worried about us overpowering them in the run game that now they're even being more aggressive with their front and stuff like that. That now leads us to, oh my gosh, they're playing this kind of defense. We can throw on this all day long. And that's just something to watch out for, at least as far as that side of the matchup.
Yeah, Drake May, I think you made him an X factor in the draft today, right?
Right, I did.
Right? Yeah, because look, this is his biggest test ever of his career. He's an MVP favorite. He has been incredible, but he's never played a game under these conditions against that kind of defense at altitude. Mike Vrabel's been very strident about the altitude. They're going out a day before. To truly acclimate, they would have had to have gone out 9 days before. He was funny. He's like, we would have had to go out last Thursday, and we had a game, so it was kind of hard to go to Denver, Thursday before the game at home against the Texans. But I do think you need to take it seriously, and I do think an extra day may have helped. You hydrate. You know what it's like. You lived out there. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there, and I've gotten that, whatever they call it, where you get the
altitude sickness.
I felt like I had an ice pick.
Right.
I had an ice pick jammed into the back of my skull. I was doing PFT live on the sideline at Mile High Stadium, and I had to brace myself with a hand so I didn't keel over on the stand-up desk on the field. I was in bad shape from the altitude. So they need to, at a minimum, hydrate. up the yin-yang before they get out there. But that's going to be an issue as well. This is a new thing for Drake May. And we've spent so much time focusing on the Broncos quarterback. We haven't spent enough talking about the Patriots quarterback and how this is just the biggest test he's ever going to face. How do they get him ready? Not ever, but so far, how do they get him ready for this one? That's going to be the key.
Definitely, and they haven't protected well lately, right? And you got a group here that Denver, like I said, they're aggressive, they're talented up front. They got, multiple pass rushers you got to worry about on every play. And that's what's impressive about Denver. So they're going to try to create some of these one-on-ones with Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito, right? And our big guy in the middle, Zach Allen, right? So with all those guys there, they're one-on-one nightmares. That's right. And that's where Drake May does have to be careful. And that's where, again, I get into the run game and how that starts early on. I think that's going to be, a key to making him feel comfortable and maybe slowing down that pass rush, helping Will Campbell out, who's been abused a little bit the last few weeks, right? Going to be big. It's hard out there. That crowd noise is real. I've played there and been there as a visitor, and I've been there, of course, when I played for the Broncos, and it's a special loud stadium. It's one of the louder ones in all of football, and, of course, it'll be rocking Sunday.
All right, let's move around then to the Broncos when they have the ball. We know by now that Bo Nix is not playing. He suffered a broken ankle late in the victory over the Bills. So Jarrett Stidham, who's been with the Broncos for 3 years, he has 4 career starts, all of them strategic business decision starts and it is kind of a weird little quirk here. He had 2 starts late in 2022 with the Raiders because they got Derek Carr off the field and put him in bubble wrap because they had $40 million in guarantees and they didn't want him to get injured, so they couldn't cut him. So he started 2 games that year. Then he signs with Denver 2023. 2 games late in the year, he starts in place of Russell Wilson for the same thing, $37 million in guarantees that they wanted to avoid. So those are his 4 starts. He's 1-3 as a starter. And this is it. He hasn't thrown a pass since the final week of the 2023 season. Did not throw a regular season pass in 24 or 25, and he steps in now. Frank Reich, I thought, was great today. He's experienced it both as a coach and as a player in the Bills' 41-38 overtime win back in 1992 postseason when they were down 35-3. He hadn't started in the regular season. He started that playoff game. And the big takeaway I had was it's about confidence. Not just Jarrett Stidham having confidence in himself, but his teammates having confidence in him and him knowing it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's where, a good week of practice and the coach is going to have to help, him feel confident and help the team feel confident in him. And that's going to be the beauty of to see what Sean Payton does early on in the football game to kind of get Jarrett Stidham comfortable, right? Like Frank Reich said some things today where I was going to say anyways on here, but screens, little short, high percentage passes just to go, oh, okay, I hit the target, we got it going, right? But within all of that too, New England's going to be expecting that. New England's going to play, I would think, early on in the football game and go, whoa, we're not going to let them run the ball and throw little short screen passes and let Jarrett Stidham get going. They're going to be aware of that. Now, within that, you got to be careful with Sean Payton. He'll dial up a shot downfield, right? But at the same time, I think that's what you can expect. In New England, they play pretty good run defense, as do the Denver Broncos. But the difference is the Patriots can run the ball on offense, and the Broncos are kind of average running the ball on the offensive side of the ball. And so that's where you look at it, too, to go, where can they muster some offense here, especially in the early part of the football game, if the run game doesn't work, right? I talk about Denver. Yeah, Denver's got pass rushers and a good secondary. We get that. I'm not sure the Patriots secondary isn't better, though. And within that, too, I'd go, I'm not sure the Broncos receivers are actually less than the Patriots receivers as a whole. And that's what's a little bit scary. So you look at that and you go, hey, just like I said on the other side of the ball, I go, the Patriots are going to go Christian Gonzalez on Cortland Sutton, Carlton Davis on whoever on the other side of the ball, Marcus Jones, the nickelback, who we just saw the pick 6 last week, and to me is an all-pro nickelback. He was on my team. He's phenomenal, right? They're going to go, hey, and our safeties, they're damn good too. They're going to go, hey, we feel pretty good about playing some aggressive run defenses. We're not scared of your receivers, and especially not scared of them on a day where, it's a quarterback that hasn't played all year, and it's very rare to see a quarterback in this type of scenario just come out and go, oh, I'm going to hit 5-step drops. Oh, 20-yard in cut, 20-yard out route. Oh, 40-yard post over the top, right? I think they're going to put pressure on him to go, oh, you want to throw that screen? Oh, it's tight. Oh, incompletion on the screen. Oh, you want to throw a little short pass here? Oh, incompletion on that. And that's where that could backfire on Denver to go, all of a sudden they go, man, we called these high percentage plays to get Stidham going, but New England knew it. And now we thought he'd be 4 for 5 here early on in the game, and he's 1 for 5 or 0 for 5. And we can't run the ball. So that's what you get scared of. But I do expect Sean Payton to have some above and beyond creative Sean Payton ideas here, knowing that Mike Vrabel knows that that's the way they got to play early on in the football game to get Stidham going. He's going to have to do something off that, and Sean Payton's usually been very good at figuring that something off of that throughout his career.
Something I just thought of as it relates to the task of going forward without Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, being coached by Sean Payton, one of the NFL's masters of offense, who will have the game plan that he wants, who will have Stidham ready to execute it. And I don't know how much to trust the AI overview on Google, and I wish I'd thought of this earlier, but based upon the potentially flawed AI, as most AI seems to be, and it doesn't really seem to bother people as much as it should, it looks like the Saints, when Drew Brees wasn't available.
Yeah, they were really good. I talked about this on my pod.
It looks like they did all right. It looks like they were 13-0 between 2019 and 2020. 5-0 when he had the thumb thing, and he was working the thumb, constantly working the thumb. 5-0 that year. 8-0 when he either didn't start or played limited snaps due to injury in 2020. So, this is Sean Payton's offense, and Bo Nix is not Drew Brees. He may become Drew Brees. Right now, he's not Drew Brees, and that's the thing that we keep losing sight of. They have confidence in Stidham. Some of the quotes yesterday from Payton and Stidham or Stickham and Patrick Surtain and others, like they believe in Jarrett Stidham, and I don't know why we shouldn't if they do. And the other aspect here, and this is what I love, because they're always looking for some phony baloney way to conjure up, Tom Brady after they beat the Chargers in the playoffs 7 years ago. Nobody believed in us, Tom. Shut up. Everybody believed in you. But if it works, go with it. Nobody believes in the Broncos. Nobody does. I suspect that anybody that does picks, any show, any podcast, whatever, when it's time to put the logos up on the screen, it's going to be Patriots, 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 Patriots. And the Broncos, Sean Payton knows how to push buttons and get people riled up. He doesn't have to make anything up here. And he'll say, oh, we don't pay attention to that stuff. Bullshit. Yeah. You do pay attention. Yeah. We know. It's okay. You need to act like you don't, but you do. And you're going to take it into the locker room, and you're going to use it to get your guys pissed off that nobody believes in us. What the do they think we got? How do the they think we got here this year? I mean, I can almost hear Payton up there saying these things. Yeah. So, I believe in the Broncos. They are the 1 seed. It's not easy to win in Denver. And the Patriots, for all the great things they've done this year, I think we can agree this is the toughest game so far for the New England Patriots all year long. Yeah, definitely. When the circumstances, the team they're playing, it's on the road, right? The stadium's going to be even crazier than normal. All of those reasons. And the Broncos believe. Jarrett Stidham, they've been seeing him practice. They go, damn, his arm's legit. Like, it's legit, and he knows the offense, right? He's a borderline starting quarterback type of talent. That's how good of a backup is. He could be that bridge kind of guy. He's got enough talent there. And I brought up that same point on my Wednesday podcast with Connor Rogers. I just went, all I know is late in the 2000s, all I do is I remember whether it was Luke McCown or Jameis Winston, they were winning and putting up numbers all the time when they were playing, especially with Luke McCown when he was the backup for Drew Brees. So, the only thing we worry about is it's just the championship game, and he hasn't got to play at all year. But I've told a million people all week, because everyone's like, you're taking the Patriots, right? You're taking the Patriots, right? You're taking the Patriots. And it's like, I get it. But the Broncos aren't chopped liver, to your point. And Sean Payton is famous for motivating his football team, famous for the stories, everything he used to do in New Orleans, right? They're a chippy group to begin with. This is just going to make them more chippy. All right, it's time to pick the games. I'm
What are you going to do? Go ahead. You can take it. You want?
Go ahead, big boy.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Patriots. After all that and all that I said, I'm still taking the Patriots. And I'm going to take them to cover the spread. I am. But it's not like I'm going like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to just dominate. Like, I'm picturing like 17-all late in the football game. And the Patriots got to go down and score to win the football game, right? Something like that. So I'm going 24-17 Patriots. They will be in Santa Clara / San Francisco with us, NBC, for Super Bowl 60.
Well, if I wasn't 10 games behind you straight up, I'd feel better about the opportunity to carve into your lead. I spent the whole week thinking I was going to pick the Patriots to win and the Broncos to cover and do the King Solomon split the baby routine and cover myself both ways. And then, you know what? I was already thinking it, but listening to Frank Reich today.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going this way. Right.
Broncos, 27-23. I am influenced by the fact that the Patriots have never won in Denver in the playoffs. Look, if the Broncos just hosted every playoff game they ever played in, they'd probably go to every Super Bowl. This is a difficult, loud environment where they know when and how to get loud, and they will get loud. And the altitude matters. They're trying to act like it doesn't. It does. And it is going to be the toughest game Drake May has ever played. And they're favored by 4.5 points. It's almost better for the Broncos that they don't have Bo Nix. And I don't mean that as a slight against Bo Nix, but it just helps everything line up even better, where they are going to be salty. They are going to be pissed off. They are going to be motivated. And the Patriots there were some quotes, Milton Williams, hey, what do you know about Jarrett Stidham? Nothing. The other guy starts for a reason, basically. So they need to take this situation seriously. And I know Mike Vrabel will get them there, but I think the Broncos emerge victorious 27-23. We're going to flip it over to the NFC Championship game, the rematch of not one but two great regular season contests between the Rams and the Seahawks. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned, PFTPM Joint, Mega Picks Podcast. We'll be right back.
You never say never. With that said, I am never traveling again.
How come you're not here?
I'm never traveling again.
No, not happening this year, huh, Mike?
Wait, hold on.
No, unless you want to come to West Virginia.
I'm never traveling again.
I can't believe you're not here, dude.
Give it to him.
I can't believe you stood me up.
I'm never traveling ever again.
The old man's at home. He's in the studio, sitting there. Yep, there he is. Look at that old man.
I'm never traveling again.
Where's the old man? F you, Darren Gant. That was good. That was amazing. That was good. That was 4 years ago, and I have traveled since then.
Yes, you have.
But back at the time, I was not inclined.
You were never traveling again at that time. Right. Well, we definitely see your weight loss in that clip there. Okay, your face was definitely a little chunkier there than it is now. So you've done a good job in that department. Also, one of the funniest things about that combine right there was that was the one where I don't even remember. I was talking to, I think, one of them just off camera and like, Florio's scared of COVID, so he's not here. And then we got back on.
I heard you.
And no shit. I mean, I was 4 feet from the mic. Thanks for the update, Captain Obvious. It wasn't like I'd already made fun of you like 10 times, and now you thought I was trying to like have a secret. So then we get back on the mic, and I'm like, man, Mike's kind of giving me an attitude. What's going on? He's like, well, maybe we didn't say that you said. I heard it on the open mic. And I was like, hey, face, I know you were listening. No shit. Thanks a lot.
I didn't know I was Phil Simms that day, but
you were.
Nevertheless.
Right.
Okay. Well, I will be traveling and have been traveling regularly and repeatedly to every Super Bowl since then. Every weekend we go somewhere. We were in stadiums this year. We always go week one. We were in Philly to start the season. We were in Dallas. We were in Pittsburgh twice. We were in Philly again.
Right.
And then we finished things up in Chicago. We always travel for the Thursday opener and for the division, not always for the divisional round game, I don't think always, but most of the time. But the other ones in between were kind of unexpected. And it's a different routine. And you know I'm a creature of habit. I like my routines.
Yeah.
Same hotel, same flight, same everything. And all of a sudden we're hopscotching all around the country. It wreaks havoc on the digestive system. Let's just leave it at that. All right, let's go. We won't be traveling to the Pacific Northwest this weekend because it's not an NBC game, but the Rams are at the Seahawks. Seahawks the 1 seed, Rams the 5th seed. Seattle is favored by 2.5 points in this one. It opened at 1.5 and went to 2.5 just like that. It stayed at 2.5 all week. When they got together, Week 16, Thursday night. Now, Week 11, it was 21-19. The Rams won. 61-yard field goal missed, or the Seahawks would have won that one, overcoming 4 interceptions by Sam Darnold. Then in the rematch, it was a classic. It was one of the great regular season games that we've seen maybe all the way back to 54-51, or maybe the Bills-Vikings game from a few years ago, but down 30-14. They tie it up. We go to overtime. First time ever a 2-point conversion scored in overtime. The crazy backward pass. Drama. Intrigue. They get together again. Let's start by looking at the Rams offense because last time, Chris, 581 yards gained by the LA offense. The Seahawks defense has looked a little better recently.
Definitely.
Do you think the Rams can get something close to that again?
I have a hard time thinking close to that again. That game unfolded in a way. I mean, let's not forget they had a long interception return that was almost a pick six. It gave the Rams the ball at the 1-yard line. Right, they were a little fortunate. I think that they got the Seattle Seahawks in a few moments of maybe being a hair too aggressive, guys jumping on double moves. We had another big play where a defender, Devin Witherspoon, falls down, and they get a big play off of that. But things that jump out to me about watching back that second matchup, right, as far as the Rams offense versus the Seahawks defense. The first thing is kind of what we talked about the last game. The Rams were very patient with the run game. The Rams ran the ball 37 times with their 2 running backs. 37, right? And usually when you hear that kind of number, you go, well, they couldn't have thrown for big numbers. No, they threw for big numbers as well. But they ran the ball, again, to kind of wear on the Seattle defensive line a little bit, and just to keep them honest, and then more importantly, like we always talk about, to keep their play-action pass going. And that's where the Rams really make a lot of their big explosive plays when you watch them through the year. They use play-action pass about as much as anybody in the sport. So they did that, and they had their way a little bit. And I think because they were running the ball, especially early on in the football game, the Seahawks did a good job of holding them to field goals, but they definitely were in some spots where between the 20s, they were letting up plays where I'd go, I don't know if you got to be worried about the run game to that extent where you're going to give them that look in the pass game, right? So that's kind of early on, that's how the game went. And as the game continued to go into the third quarter and we got some turnovers again, and now the Rams were, again, being held to field goal. They get the short field touchdown, and now it's 23-14, and they have one of their best drives of the game. And what I noticed about that fourth quarter, and this is where running the ball and running the bootlegs off of it and all of that come back to repay you. They got into Seattle was like, hey, let's stop being so aggressive. Let's just rush our 4 and we'll play coverage. But at that point, all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, they were tired up front. The D-line was tired. They didn't get a sack on Stafford in the football game. I mean, how many times did he drop back to pass? 50. He was 29 of 49. I think he maybe had like a kneel on the ball or whatever. There's 52 pass dropbacks in the game or whatever. They got no sacks. This is a front 4 that's legit. They had a good plan of chipping, keeping a tight end in at times, doing stuff like that. So I guess what I'm saying here is the Rams do know how to play against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are going to have to figure out a few new ways of what they want to do in coverage and how tactical they want to be about pressuring Matthew Stafford. Because, again, you don't want to over-blitz them because they're going to expose you down the field. But yet you can't rush 4 and not get close to them because you're going to get exposed down the field too. And that's where I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to have to find that fine line of taking their tactical chances of when to pressure Stafford there.
Puka Nacua was incredible the last time they played. 12 catches for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. And when we did the X Factors draft earlier today, I should have realized one guy to mention is Davante Adams because he didn't play in the Week 16 game.
Right.
He had a hamstring injury. He's back. He's healthy. So it's Adams and Nacua. They couldn't stop Nacua. If they try to stop Nacua, if they devote extra resources to shutting him down, Davante Adams, who had a hell of a catch on Sunday night and still can get it done and is getting closer to his first potential Super Bowl win, Super Bowl appearance, that becomes an extra little boost for the LA offense. So I know it's always a challenge when things worked so well the last time. Do you change? Do you do what you already did? The defense is going to do things differently.
That's right.
I think it becomes part of a very subtle chess match for Sean McVay and Mike McDonald to engage in, and it's compelling because it could determine who wins the game.
Definitely. I mean, what we got, I meant to bring this up at the start of the show. We got Sean and Mike versus Sean and Mike. Isn't that unbelievable? And we might have a Sean versus Mike Super Bowl, or a Sean versus Sean, or a Mike versus Mike. But it is incredible that the four coaches left, 2 are Sean's, 2 are Mike's. And I'm with you there.
The analytics.
Yeah.
High-end analytics.
Deep dive right
Sean's
there.
and Mike's.
That's what you get from a blonde guy from New Jersey who went to Texas. You get the good shit right there, all right? But I do think you're right in that fact of that next move, projecting what that'll be. Like, if you're the Rams, you want to do some of what you did in the first game, but you got to go in going, it's highly unlikely they're going to play us exactly the same way. So what are they going to take away? And then having the vision to feel what that next move is, to go, wait, they're probably going to do this, so now I'm going to have this off of it. That's what you're talking about, and I do think will be part of the chess match there. Let me throw this at you too, Mike. A little bit, I feel like, just watching the Rams back on offense the last few weeks, right? I think one thing that has happened a little, because they've been a little up and down in the pass game, right, the last few weeks, is they play 3 tight ends a lot. So we know that, okay, teams aren't going to be necessarily scared to play them man-to-man with big guys running down the football field. But the other thing is, and really last week against Chicago played the game of, like, we're not scared of Puka or Davante Adams. We feel like they're really good. We get it. But they're not going to just run by us for 70-yard touchdowns. And the Bears put Jalen Johnson on Puka Nacua, and he did a phenomenal job. And then they put on Nahshon Wright on Davante Adams over there, and he did a really phenomenal job as well. When we saw some of those lulls in the Rams offense last week against Chicago, they were getting manned up on the outside. I think that's one thing we could see different this time around from the Seahawks. The Seahawks going, we played all our zones and we were pretty good, but maybe within those zones, Stafford manipulated us a few times and moved people, and then boom, throws it over here, right? And that's what gets scary about Stafford. I think the Seahawks will play a little bit more man-to-man and not be scared of Davante, who I still don't think is running full speed. And Puka, I mean, let's not forget, he ran 4, 5, 7 coming out. He's not the speed, just run by you for a touchdown type of guy.
Yeah, against the Bears, Puka had 5 catches for 56 yards. And Davante, even though he had a key catch in the overtime drive, 2 for 24, they spread the ball around a lot. Yeah. And maybe that's what the Seahawks will force them to do. Let's break. When we return, we're going to look at when the Seahawks have the ball, how they match up against the Rams defense. That's next on Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM Joint Mega Picks podcast.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code Cornerback when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And as always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you can afford to lose. If you listened to me last week, you shouldn't have. I'm not going to apologize because I always say you shouldn't. If you listened to me last week, you got screwed. Okay, so when the Seahawks have the ball, Sam Darnold, biggest game of his life, brink of a Super Bowl, bigger stakes than Vikings at Lions week 18 a year ago. He showed up and he's won big games this year. The 13-3 win over the 49ers to end the regular season. The 41-6 win, although they didn't need him to do much. He had the oblique injury. He's still banged up. He hasn't been throwing as much as he normally would. Seems to be like he'll be fine for the game. But when the Seahawks have the ball, he's the straw that stirs the drink or otherwise. Jackson Smith and Jigba, favorite target. Cooper Kupp, lurking. Kenneth Walker the third. The clear option at tailback now that Zach Charbonnet is out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. But I think it just begins and ends with Darnold being able to move the ball and not make mistakes against the Rams defense.
Yeah, I agree. And, again, here's one where, you look at Sam Darnold. I think everybody's expecting, the chair to be pulled out from underneath him, and we're going to be like, oh, there's the Sam Darnold. He's seeing ghosts again. But I think what he's realized here down the second half of the football season is he doesn't need to be what Minnesota needed him to be, right? Minnesota played a different type of football game. Minnesota, when he was the starting quarterback there, for them to win, they expected like, hey, you got to go 25 for 32 for about 290 or 310 and, 2 or 3 touchdowns and maybe 1 interception. That's how Minnesota played. Seattle doesn't give a shit about all that. Seattle's going, hey, we'll be fine if it happens what happened last week. You got like 60 yards in the third quarter, and then you end up with 127, and we threw the ball 17 times. With the way their defense is playing, right, Seattle is arguably the hottest defense in football, right up there with the Houston Texans and what they were doing before they got eliminated last week, right? So you got that aspect. They've been kicking ass on that side of the ball. And the one thing I'll say with Seattle, it's a little bit the opposite of what I've said with the Los Angeles Rams. They don't run the ball enough. They don't. They didn't run the ball enough the first time around, and that's why they were in a hole. They kind of let the Rams play run defenses, and they're like, whoa, we can't run the ball against a run defense. How dare we do that? That's crazy. And it was like, well, now you're 3 and out. Now Stafford's got the ball. Oh, you went 3 and out again. And so they lost in time of possession. They never really controlled the line of scrimmage. When they did say, we're going to run the ball, they gashed the Rams. And that's an advantage I think they have. They're a pretty big O-line. The Rams are not big up front. The Rams are chaos creators. Once you start to run the ball in the Rams, they are quick to put extra people down there. And then within that, the Rams put extra people down there, and they don't play man-to-man. They play zones still for the most part behind it. So now they're playing zones with one less guy in that zone, and it leaves to big windows in the pass game. And that's why you saw Caleb Williams and Bryce Young a little bit. Other teams have their way against the Rams and what they do on that side of the ball. The Rams are not good at man-to-man coverage, and this isn't the team they can play man-to-man against. They don't have guys that can stop Jackson Smith and Jigba or Rashid Shaheed on a down-to-down basis. So that's where the run game will be big for the Seattle Seahawks to do that. One of the bread and butters of the Rams is their pass rush, like we know. And Sam Darnold isn't going to be able to evade the pass rush like a Caleb Williams and all that. So, yes, it's run the ball, and if they can do that, the Shanahan play-action pass game to the receivers off of that is where they become really explosive, and I would think they kind of live through that until they're proven otherwise.
For years, the Seahawks did not have a great offensive line.
Yeah.
Now, you don't notice when an offensive line is competent. They're only conspicuous when they stink. And the Seahawks offensive line is good enough. But against this Rams defensive front, Jared Verse and the rest, but led by Verse, that's going to be an issue. When will the walls close in on Sam Darnold? Because that's when the mistakes happen. But I will say this, and I should have mentioned it earlier. He had 2 interceptions against the Rams in the game they won. He overcomes mistakes better than most quarterbacks. He doesn't slip into a funk. He doesn't let it keep going. He has found a way to reverse, because there was a point when he threw the second interception against the Rams week 16. It's like, it's over. It's done. That's it. Night. Go home. He does a great job at forgetting about that and focusing on the opportunities to come, but it's easier when you aren't being harassed by the Rams front 4.
Yes, exactly right. And, the Rams, they're one of those teams, too, where they, like we talked about with the Denver Broncos, they really want to rush 5 a lot. They do that a lot. They got 5 at the line of scrimmage a lot because, again, they're not real big up front, so they want just that extra guy to create chaos. And then, it looks like one of them's on the line of scrimmage and one drops off and all that. But if you play, we're going to overpass the ball and pass the ball too much, the Rams are going to be a little bit like, hey, great. Because that's we got Jared Verse and Byron Young and Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner, and they're made to rush the passer and stunt and do all that stuff. That's what we are. We really want to be able to let them go crazy, and you got to get the ball out of your hand quick while all our eyes in the secondary are on you, and now we can make a break and try to intercept it or a bang-bang type of football play. That's when they're at their best, and that's where, again, to take pressure off of Sam Darnold, to do what I think the Seahawks are the best at, which is run the ball and then then play a little play action off of that. That takes away some of what the Rams are best at. It's the best thing for Sam Darnold, and that's why I'm sitting here. I'm taking the Seahawks, right? I know at the start of the playoffs, I put the Rams in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to go by what I've seen. I'm not going to just be beholden to what I picked 3 weeks ago. The Seahawks are playing the best football in the sport. The Seahawks have the most talent and the best roster out of the 4 teams left, and I'm going to take them at home 28-20 to beat the Los Angeles Rams and go to Super Bowl 60.
You know, when you talk about the Rams' defense being undersized up front, especially this time of year, it gives me flashbacks to the Vikings getting steamrolled in 3 Super Bowls that I watched in the 70s because their defensive line wasn't big enough. And if the Seahawks do commit to running the ball and they can run effectively, that could be a way. Slow down the game, keep the 581-yard Rams offense off the field, and just demoralize the defense slowly and steadily. That said, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold. Sean McVay, Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
All due respect to Darnold and McDonald. Sounds like a law firm for farmers. But I'm going run over by a tractor, eaten by a cow.
Yeah.
Call Darnold and McDonald. I'm going Rams 34-30.
Right.
Rams 34-30. I went back and forth on this one. I got 2 nephews who are very big Seahawks fans who are going to be pissed at me, but I can't help it. Let's raise this before we break.
Right.
Do you put any stock in the idea that the Rams have been on the road? They've played more games. They played into overtime. You know, they were in a more intense game against the Bears. The Seahawks kind of had it easy against the 49ers. Do you see that affecting the Rams at all?
Yeah, there could be 2 ways. One, like the Seahawks haven't had to play a battle-tested 4-quarter game, right, in a little bit to where they've had to play that way. But there's also the aspect of like, man, the Seahawks are going to be fresh as shit and ready to fly around and be crazy. And there's also that aspect of the Rams going, well, does this catch up to them a little bit? The end of the season was tough. The playoffs have been on the road. They've been in some tough games. Does it come to a pinnacle here? That's something to watch out for, Mike. I think it's a valid point. I don't got a concrete answer for you.
I would say with 2 games, there shouldn't be a best bet, especially because I'm ahead. But apparently we're going to do one.
Of course we are. I mean, that's what we do. We gamble, baby. That's right. DraftKings. Gamble that money. Woo! Woo! Come on now.
Well, we disagree on both games, both straight up and against the spread. This is your chance to catch me because I'm 2 ahead in the spread competition, and it's your chance to catch me for best bets. So what's your best bet for the game?
Well, my best bet, I'm going with the Seahawks.
Or games.
I am. I'm going with the Seahawks. That's the one I like the most. It's 2.5, right? I mean, I know that I got the Patriots winning and covering the spread there, but being on the road, their first time in that environment, that team, the chippiness of Sean Payton, the Broncos, yeah, I feel best about the Seahawks winning by more than 2.5.
You know, I picked both underdogs again.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Maybe it'll work this week. Give me the Broncos to cover the 4.5-point spread. I don't feel great about either one of these. Broncos.
This could get interesting going to Super Bowl Sunday.
Sean versus Sean.
To our pick spot
versus
at
Sean,
the Super Bowl.
2018 NFC Championship
See
all
ya.
over again.
Yo. Thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.